Agriculture Minister John Steenhuisen, together with his Gauteng provincial counterpart, MEC Vuyiswa Ramokgopa, are in Gauteng for the provincial leg of the national mass vaccination rollout. Now, the program began with an engagement session at Suikerbos Nature Reserve this morning, where farmers and stakeholders engaged with government officials. SABC reporter Puseletso Mokoena is there for us this afternoon. Puseletso, a very good afternoon to you. We know, of course, that this has been quite a concern topic for farmers, or development rather, in as far as the foot and mouth disease is concerned. Give us a sense in terms of what was discussed then at Suikerbos in that community meeting, where, of course, the MEC, together with the Minister of Agriculture, sought to allay fears, as it were, to farmers.
Thank you so much, Unati. Obviously, yes, this morning we started at the Suikerbos, whereby the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen, and the MEC of Agriculture and Rural Development in the province of Gauteng engaged with the farmers, I can say the affected farmers, that they were just assuring them that they are honestly dealing with this outbreak of foot and mouth disease. We understand that nationally there has been thousands of cases that were reported of foot and mouth disease, and we understand that in the province of Gauteng there's at least 230 cases that were reported. But right now we're coming to you live from the Magagula Heights in Gauteng. This is in Ekurhuleni. We are in the kraals here, Unati, and this is where the vaccination rollout took place. But I just want to engage more with the MEC of Agriculture and Rural Development, Vuyiswa Ramokgopa. MEC, thank you so much for your time. Firstly, let's talk about some of the, maybe you can tell us about the unique approach that you have undertaken to ensure that maybe you are engaging with other stakeholders to help fight the scourge of FMD.
So thank you. We've been, fighting FMD and dealing with this crisis since April 2025. But what became very important for us was to really, be able to communicate what our approach is. So we released our 4-pillar approach towards the end of January, which really puts a heavy emphasis on movement control. So making sure that people are minimizing movement of animals in and out of the province and around the province. We've tightened up our regulations in that regard. And then second to that, that requires, of course, coordination with other departments and other arms of government, as well as specifically the security cluster and the community safety. So through other departments, we've actually created, joint operations committee that is able to coordinate activities across different departments and ensure that we can enforce some of these movement control regulations. And then the other key thing, which you attended this morning, was the multi-stakeholder forum that we have set up, different multi-stakeholder forums in the different regions that we have been focusing on. We've already been to Tshwane, we've done Midvaal, we are here today, as you said, in Gauteng, in the eastern part of Gauteng. And the point of this is really to be able to enable, industry associations, farmers, and all affected communities to be able to engage directly with government to curb the scourge of misinformation and disinformation, but also for us to take insights from the market. The more you talk, the more you learn, and the better you are at actually being able to respond to the crisis in real time.
Mm-hmm. And of course, MEC, we saw a number of cows being vaccinated in this place. Do we know how many are they?
Yeah, today we have vaccinated, I think, about 120 cattle today on site. I mean, in total, Gauteng has done over 300,000 vaccinations since the beginning of the outbreak. So it really is quite an intense process. And as I've said, we've gone to a number of different sites, and this particular one we did about 120. Yeah.
Thank you so much, MEC.
220.
Oh, 220.
My mistake. My team is making eyes at me. It's 220.
220. Okay, thank you so much, MEC, for your time. And maybe Minister John Steenhuisen, I can just bring you in here. I just want to start with when we were at the Suikerbos, some of the farmers here spoke about a lumpy skin, which is of course an outbreak that is seemingly increasing. Are we going to see maybe a national drive again to curb the scourge of lumpy skin?
Yeah, of course. But I mean, these are a vaccine that should be applied annually. There's plenty of vaccine at Onderstepoort, both the active and the inactive vaccines. So it should be very easy to get on top of it. Farmers are required to vaccinate the animals against lumpy skin disease. It's a vaccine that's readily available and can be administered, and that's the best way to get on top of it. Obviously, FMD is a very virulent and fast-moving disease, and that is why we've seen it's spreading in the way that it has done, and why this vaccination drive is so fundamentally important.
And, maybe we can also talk about the figures in terms of the money, Minister. How much is being spent to this drive?
Well, we'll probably end up spending in the region of just over R1 billion, and that's certainly what we've put aside in our budget to purchase vaccines. Obviously, that's the important part of the thing, is to get the vaccines and get them in here. But I mean, obviously we're going to continue to vaccinate. I think it's very important to clarify that the farmers are not paying for the vaccine. As you've seen here today, the vaccine's been administered free of charge at no cost to the farmer, and we will cover the cost of the vaccine rollout that the state is doing to ensure that we are able to get on top of this and obviously break the back of this particular outbreak significantly.
And do we know how many doses of vaccine do we have in South Africa currently of FMD?
Well, we've got what's left of the million from Biogenesis Bago. When, in the last week, we've had 1.5 million doses of Zolvet arriving, and that's being distributed to the provinces and dispatched to the provinces over the next 24 hours. And then following on from that, we will have 5 million doses coming in from Biogenesis Bago before the end of March, and that'll really help us ramp up the figures to make sure that we meet our target of vaccinating 80% of the national herd by December and reducing outbreaks by 70%.
And Minister, the last time I checked, there was an issue with the country being able to manufacture its own vaccine. How far are we? Maybe there's some developments in the issue?
South Africa used to manufacture its own vaccine, but we lost that ability in around about 2015 because these vaccines are made in very strict laboratory conditions, and our laboratory lost its status. We've now had the first 12,900 roll-off of the locally produced vaccines. Obviously, it's not nearly enough for us to meet our needs, and so that's why we're relying on imports. But the plan is for the ARC and OBP to scale up to the point where they will be able to provide us with 20,000 doses a week of that local vaccine. It's a very good vaccine, the local one. It only requires one shot a year, and it obviously works against Stat 1, 2 and 3 in a very powerful way. But in the future, we will look to becoming vaccine sovereign, to produce enough for our own needs and perhaps also to export, but also to keep the option open if we need to import vaccines, so that never again in our future are we reliant on a single source of vaccines, and that we keep the doors open so that when we do have a crisis, we're able to resolve it quickly and efficiently.
And lastly, we saw a lobby group of farmers approaching the court in challenging the fact that they cannot go privately to seek for vaccination. Let's talk about this, Minister.
Well, nobody can just import vaccines privately. They have to go through a Section 21 process through SAPRA, and that's obviously done to protect the health and well-being and to protect citizens and farmers and animals from unintended consequences. It's impossible to just have a vaccine free for all. These are controlled vaccines. Much like the flu vaccine, you can't go and buy it and order it online and do it at home. You have to have it done by a health professional. So it's unclear why they want a free for all, because it negates the surveillance and registration process which we need for the data to move our status to becoming FMD free. It's no use spending all these millions of rands on vaccines if it doesn't change our FMD status. We also have drafted in the private sector. There's a private sector company, JuneVax, importing the Turkish vaccine, which we're purchasing from them. And private vets are actively involved on the front line. So it's very hard to work out why they are going to court. Other than the publicity, I imagine. But we're doing everything we can within our bounds to be able to ensure that we vaccinate as many animals as quickly as possible. And court action in the midst of a crisis doesn't help. It obviously slows things down. I now have had to pull senior veterinary staff off the front line to answer a 569-page affidavit, which is not helpful. But anyway, it's their right to go to court. I'm confident we'll win, and that will clarify a few issues for certain. We have laws in this country. It's not a lawless society, and whether it's procurement of vaccines or whether it's the rollout, it has to be done in terms of the law. I, as a minister, have to work within the law. When I took my oath of office, I swore to uphold the law of the Republic, and if I now go outside that law and something happens, I'm going to be the one held accountable. I'm going to be the one who has to sit in the court and explain why something happened and why did I let it happen. And so I have to be guided by science, and I have to work within the law, whether it's the PFMA, whether it's the Animal Diseases Act, whether it's the Animal Health Act. I have to work within the bounds of that law.
Thank you so much for your time, Minister. And because of time, we're going to have to end it here. We understand that you also need to catch a flight. That was the Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen, together with the MEC of Agriculture and Rural Development here in the province of Gauteng, talking about some of the things that they have done to ensure that they deal with an outbreak of foot and mouth disease. But for now, it's back to you in studio.
Thanks so much, Puseletso. Very important discussion, that one. Of course, Puseletso there speaking to the Minister and also the MEC of Agriculture in Gauteng. Importantly, of course, 220,000 cattle vaccinated today in Gauteng for that foot and mouth disease. Of course, it is an outbreak in the country, a drive that will cost the entire country, at least government, a region of R1 billion.